What's up, family? Welcome to Ask the Mods.
where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This is my queen, Iana.
And this is my king, Ayize. And today's topic is a very important one. This is actually a topic that we get a lot of in the work that we do with so many couples.
That's
and I
true.
will say that we get it from women for the most part. Women are the ones usually bringing this to us. And so today we're going to focus on the gap that can exist between a couple. When one person in the relationship feels as if there are some unresolved issues lingering in the relationship, not being addressed, no resolution happening, and they're just there. And usually, or I shouldn't say usually, but oftentimes, that person might try to get the other person to go to counseling, right? Counseling, so we can get through some of this stuff. But what I will say is that in our community, generally speaking, men are not too keen on counseling, and they're pretty resistant to that. So, you want to give us a little bit of insight on that, hon?
Yeah, I agree. And what I'll say to that is that when my wife initially requested that I go to counseling with her, I really felt like it was this incessant knock that was just constant, just getting on my nerves. When I first went through the counseling experience, I will also say that it was a challenge. It was painful. I didn't like it. I didn't want to participate, but the reality is that as I continued to participate and go through it, I grew from it. And so now I appreciate the experience because it challenged me to dig deeper, and it also helped me to become a better person.
Well, I appreciate that. And so what we want to do now is kind of help you to open up the options in your relationship so you can start getting some movement on some of these issues. And so what you can do is remember that there's more than one way to do things, right? So counseling is certainly an option, but you can also try, perhaps you're a pastor or a minister, can give some counseling on certain issues. That's an option. With a spiritual focus. You can also try relationship coaching. Relationship coaching is something that we do, and that's something that's very different from counseling, and I think that's something worth investigating. Also, you have marriage enrichment groups and marriage support groups and just couple support groups for folks who are on their way to being happily married. And so those groups are very good, and particularly good for folks who don't want, that one-on-one attention, and you can engage with other folks. You can also go online or go to your local bookstore, and there are workbooks along with, books that you can read that kind of give you an exploratory way to be able to answer questions and go at your own pace with your partner. And that, I will say, is for the disciplined couple who's able to really, hold themselves accountable. So there are lots of ways to get to movement on these issues. I would encourage you to lay those things out for your partner and see what they would opt to, take a stab at.
But keep in mind when you do that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can also give a man or woman a book, but you can't make them think. It's really up to them. When you approach them with the idea of counseling, marriage enrichment, marriage workshops, just be aware that you have to be respectful in that approach. In addition to that, when it comes to counseling, you could also suggest that they be a silent participant. They might be more inclined to participate if they know they're there to support you versus being actively involved in the process.
Okay, and that's a good start, right? You got to start somewhere. But I will say this, for those of you out there who may be like me and say, okay, wait a minute, I got to figure out, all these different options for them and, make sure I'm respectful when I'm coming to them with it and say that they don't have to talk when they come. And, in my mind, they're the ones with the issue anyway. They need to get together and I got to do all of this for them. What's up with that? Here's what you got to know. There's no easy fix when it comes to working through the issues of our relationships. There is no one solution that's going to make everything wonderful and peachy keen. What you have to recognize is that you have to be willing to give, seeking nothing in return. You've got to be willing to model for your spouse or for your partner and allow them to come along at their own pace, right? You've got to respect the process. If you want to start moving and stop being at a stalemate, take our advice and let us know how it works out.